Another big myth is this idea that you can train yourself to need less sleep. And that's simply not true. You may be able to get used to it, but embedded in that is something going desperately wrong with your neurophysiology. So, for instance, if you are at war and you're in a combat situation and for survival reasons, you really can't sleep, it would be dangerous to sleep. Yes, your body will sustain that and it will do that a lot better than it would if you were out of harm's way. However, that's far from a healthy situation, and we didn't evolve to be in those situations long term. So just understand that that's not the same as training yourself to need less sleep. What's happening there is you're completely rewiring stress physiology in a way that makes you operate as if you're constantly under threat and you're constantly at risk. And once your brain wires for it, it can actually be very hard to reset it. But this doesn't mean the body or the brain needs less sleep. It means that you've wired yourself to be so threat sensitive, even if no threats exist anymore, that you're not getting the sleep you need. So this idea that you can train yourself to need less sleep is just factually false. You cannot do that. And if you are getting used to it, that actually means something's wrong with the underlying stress system, which we will discuss at length in the next module, which is all about stress, cortisol, other neuromodulators associated with stress, and really what they are and how to moderate them and to keep them at a medium or moderate level so that you don't get into a persistent anxiety or threat state. The other thing to understand about this idea that so many people have that they can just train themselves to eventually need less sleep is that your sleep needs are largely determined by your genetics and also your age. So while you might feel like you're adapting to less sleep over time, when we bring people into the lab and we look at what's happening to them, we find that their performance, their health, and their cognitive functioning are usually all suffering. So it's much better to be honest with yourself, to get a really deep sense of how much sleep you need and to find a way to let yourself get it. Because again, this isn't wasting time. It's actually saving you time. And not only is it saving you time, but it's allowing you to use that time much more creatively, much more effectively, and much more efficiently because these brain states that comprise sleep are specialized to do things for you cognitively, emotionally, behaviorally that you can't do during the day, that your brain can't do during the day because it's too busy doing other things like taking in a deluge, a mountain, an avalanche of incoming information. So you need to let the brain go, quote, offline, the gold standard offline state being sleep, to allow it to process, sift through, make connections, consolidate, strip away problematic emotional tone so that your brain can actually be at its best during the day. It is much better to sleep on it and to get the cognitive benefits of the sleep than it is to keep staying up and persisting. Eventually, you're very much going to pay the price for that.